Cooper Kupp is now 340 yards away from breaking Calvin Johnson's single season record. Okay, this year there's 17 games, obviously, so there'll be an asterisk next to it if he breaks it. But he has the chance to do that in the next 2 weeks, which would be 16 games, which would be able to be comparable to Calvin Johnson getting it with Matthew Stafford as his quarterback as well. So Matthew Stafford could account for, and probably will account for, the 2 top receiving years in the history of the NFL.
Wow.
So that should go part of his resume whenever he's judged later for everything that's going to happen. They're going to have to win a Super Bowl. He's going to have to win some playoff games to get in conversation of the GOAT talk. But there's a lot of people who have a lot of respect for him who, are pointing out some facts that are, and he was able to do it in Detroit and now Los Angeles. 2 very different places. Matthew Stafford still delivering the ball. But when you talk about Cooper Kupp, they're using him in every fucking play. Yeah. He's becoming the Cooper Kupp show. He was tight end, running back, slot, wide out, X, what you name it. He was everywhere, and they were getting the ball. It felt like there was 2 series or so where every play Matthew Stafford was just looking for Kupp. And I wonder if McVay, like Odell Beckham Jr. is on the field. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the thought, since OBJ is now seeing how Cooper Kupp is being used in that offense, if they add OBJ into, and I have no idea, and everybody said, OBJ plays a much different position than Robert Woods, and Robert Woods went down the same day OBJ went there, so they're not going to be able to just completely replace them. But it feels like what Cooper Kupp has, OBJ has the ability to. And I think a lot of people actually say OBJ is tough. Imagine if they just have both of them doing that. Because right now, Cooper Kupp is must-see television. Mm-hmm. He's like Tyreek Hill on the field for the LA Rams. And it feels like McVay knows that. And it's like, hey, we are going to this guy. Everybody on the field knows he's getting the rock, and they can't stop him. It was a very boring game last night. Yeah. But the Rams get a win over the Seahawks in a big division game. Matthew Stafford's on track to have the 2 highest receiving yards in the history of football. Yep. I mean, that's pretty fucking good. Mm-hmm. Everybody said he stunk a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Tone Diggs. Everybody,
Congrats on beating the Seahawks and, the Jaguars. So.
Oh, yeah. He was the problem in Detroit, wasn't he, Tony?
Well, he was the quarterback, and that's the most important position, and he lost every single year.
It was fascinating. That is tough. That people will bring that up whenever the conversation happens. But if he has the 2 highest receiving yards and they win in LA, I mean, I think that all that goes aside.
Yeah, Pat Stafford.
Oh. They're winning.
That was
in
a
the
great
hardest
cartoon.
division in the league.
Okay, let's talk about the other game. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp continue to be the Cooper Kupp show. And Matthew Stafford, fresh out of Detroit, dude. Detroit Rock City. Yeah. He's up there for 100 years. Never got a chance to really win many games, but put up a lot of records. Has the top receiving year in NFL history with Calvin Johnson. Now, Calvin Johnson obviously holds the record. Legend, Hall of Fame. Congrats, Calvin.
Congrats, Calvin.
That's right, Calvin. Pay that guy back his money. But Matthew Stafford was the quarterback for that year for him. Now, Cooper Kupp is 340 yards away. Now, granted, this is the 17-game season, so it'll have different records going forward. But technically, he could get 340 yards in the next 2 weeks. It would be 16 games. Who knows what he's going to be able to accomplish for 17 games. It'll probably only go. Matthew Stafford, also his quarterback. But there was a time in that game where it became the Cooper Kupp show. It was just like when Tom Brady and Antonio Brown in that game against the Dolphins, where Tom, for that first drive, was literally just looking for him. And Sean McVay had Cooper Kupp in every fucking position. Every position last night, just trying to get him the rock. I don't know if they're trying to get the record, but he is electrifying to watch. That Eastern Washington kid fucking flies, dude.
He's awesome, and it seems like every game now this year there's a time when it's just okay. Here we go, Cooper Kupp. We're gonna just feed this guy. But I would guess McVay wants to get him that record. I would guess Stafford wants the record, and McVay is going to call the game to try to get him that record.
And by the way, I think there's a good chance. they get it after what he feels. He pulls away from people. He has like a natural instinct, it feels, in those zones to drop in there.
So there's little whip routes, too, that he does where he'll put
the Edelman.
He goes back and forth 7 different times. I'm like, how do you cover this dude?
So those are like the Edelman routes. Remember that was when Edelman came in. He would just run like 6,
He's going to work off your leverage. Like whatever leverage you're showing, he's going to work off of it.
And I don't know if that's what Cooper Kupp is doing. I haven't watched the All-22, but I only know what Edelman was doing because Griff Whalen did it against us in practice. He was imitating Julian Edelman, and Hasselbeck was the quarterback. And Hasselbeck and Griff had great chemistry, and everybody knew that, hey, Tom and Julian, they don't know which way he's going. It is depending upon where Griff had 14,000 yards that week.
Yikes.
Should we not just maybe implement like literally watching it. It was like, should we not?
Should we bracket this guy or something? Yeah.
No, not also that. Should we not put this in
Put
our
this in the
offense?
playbook.
Should we not
Oh,
put
yeah.
this in our offense? It feels like, and I think Cooper Kupp and Matt and McVay kind of have that same. Like I think there's a lot of reading.
There's a lot of trust too. We talked about before on the show, like when you listen to Cooper Kupp talk about what defenses are doing, like the dude
Fires out
seems like a
two
genius.
blades,
Anyhow, he's reading every single thing. He's reading all 11 guys in the defense. It seems like as the play is going on. So I'm sure Stafford has tons of confidence in him.
I think Tone said it this morning. He said, he said he's like another quarterback on field.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say about Cooper Kupp. He has to know every position, though, for every play, just like the quarterback, because they have him everywhere. He is that one drive. I think he lined up at 5 different positions.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, he's still just a wide receiver. It's like, yeah, but he has to learn to play probably for every fucking one of these things. It's just like a quarterback. And then him and Matt have to be on the same page. That's a team with how much, firepower they got on that team. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl's in so far. I mean, we got a lot of questions about that team. We got a lot of questions about that team.
Put him in the backfield. Tough to cover Cooper out of the backfield, too.
They did.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah,
He
that's
did.
what I'm saying.
I think they
I
had
think
him
they
at
should-
fullback one time last night.
Every game, I
lead
would
blocking.
imagine they'll do more and more of that.
Tight end, he was like the basically block and check release, check down if he needed him, and he threw it to him.
They do say he's a great blocker as well. That's
Yeah.
why he can do stuff like that.
So they have Odell there, right? Odell's just the rest of this year, or is he a free
Yeah,
agent?
just 1 year.
Because I wonder, like, they say Odell, and by they, this sounds like I'm not saying it, but I haven't watched enough film. I don't know. Odell tough, actually. People think Odell not tough. Odell actually tough. Now, he misses games because he has potential muscle injuries or whatever's going on because he is he's like a Lambo as an athlete. I mean, we can all agree with that. Whenever he's fucking flying around, there is not a lot of humans that can do what Odell Beckham do. But they say he plays through injuries. They say he blocks people. He can fly around. His football IQ's high. I mean, what if they have 2 of those? Could that be the thing that changes Odell's career as opposed to just being the outside guy? Will he, after seeing what Cooper Kupp does, be able to be like, hey, why don't we just do this whole thing? And then, I mean, that could be the next step for that offense because that thing's tough. Like Tyreek Hill, who's out, by the way, I guess he tested positive. He said he felt symptoms, got tested. He's in a COVID protocol now. We don't know how long. We hope Travis Kelce also in there. But what they used with Tyreek Hill in Kansas City, it feels like Cooper is kind of doing the same type of stuff. And I don't know what would hold Odell back aside from not knowing every single fucking play in the playbook, which is probably not as easy to do, but it feels like they're only going to grow on that. Woods comes back next year as well. Van Jefferson's playing. Matthew Stafford another year comfortable. So I don't know if they're going to win this year, but I remember watching last night and thinking to myself, man, think about like a year into this offense, what they're going to be able to do.
I mean, even Rap Sheet saying earlier, though, like the Bucks didn't really get hot till now. Like the Rams feel more like that type of team where Odell, by the time playoffs come around, he knows the entire playbook. Kind of the guys who've been banged up like Darrell Henderson, who played last night, but he's still not playing every down like he was. Kind of gets his groove back too. Like it still seems as though the Rams can go on a run. Von Miller gets a little more comfortable in the defense. Like they have the players.
He got a
to do
sack
it.
last night.
Still have Aaron Donald.
Still have Aaron Donald.
And Stafford too. Stafford, if you need to go on the road in the playoffs and win a cold game, Stafford has done that. He's not scared to play in the cold.
Ramsey made an absurd play too yesterday.
He floats through the
Yeah, it's insane.
How about whenever, and this was brought up, I think, by you, somebody got COVID and they said, thank you, or Eckler. Austin Eckler gets on the cover. He goes, thank you, everybody, for reaching out. Jalen Ramsey goes, I got COVID. Don't fucking hit me up. I like that he,
He's awesome. He's an absolute stud.